Welcome back. The Office of Inspector General releases a stunning report on misbehavior by Chicago city workers. It includes indecent exposure, sexual misconduct, and PPP loan fraud. Inspector General Deborah Witzburg joins us now to break it down. And thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Because there's a lot to sift through here. Now, one of the incidents involved an employee in the mayor's office, and that when your department recommended that this particular employee be terminated, what happened?
We recommended that a senior employee in the mayor's office be fired for failure to cooperate with an OIG investigation. The law says that all city employees are required to cooperate with our work. That's how we get the information we need to make sure we can hold people accountable. And we found that this senior employee in the mayor's office failed to cooperate with an investigation. We recommended that that person be terminated, and the mayor disagreed.
What was the nature of that particular investigation?
The investigation we set out to conduct was came out of a question of whether this employee in the mayor's office, the subject of our investigation, had committed some misconduct in conditioning public safety services for a certain ward in the city on that ward's alder supporting mayoral policy priorities. So the concern was that there had been sort of a quid pro quo where public safety services were being withheld unless this alder voted to support mayoral policy priorities.
Do you think that this erodes the public's trust in how city government works, instances like this?
I do. I think that a failure to cooperate with oversight is deeply concerning. And because the subject of this investigation failed to cooperate, we were never able to reach investigative findings on those underlying allegations.
Okay. Another incident involved indecent exposure by an off-duty streets and sands worker. How do you get tips like this? How do they make their way to your desk?
We get information from many different sources. We get between 8,000 and 10,000 intakes over the course of a year, and they come from city employees and from public officials and from members of the public, and some we generate ourselves, so from a huge range of sources.
I can't even imagine sifting through all of those. What a daunting task. The widespread cases of PPP, loan fraud by city workers. What happens to those individuals once you find that?
In all of the cases where we have found that a city employee fraudulently obtained a PPP loan, we've recommended that that person be fired. I think you don't get to both defraud the government and work for the government. And so far, all of the city departments where we have found those problems have agreed with our recommendations and fired those employees.
This is just your third quarter report. You're releasing a report every quarter, right?
That's right.
What is the most egregious finding overall from this particular report?
Well, you know, we love all of our investigations the same. I think I am really concerned about the failure to cooperate issue. So we reported out on 12 investigations this quarter overall, and in 4 of those cases, we found that a city employee failed to cooperate with our work. 4 different investigations, 4 different city departments. 3 of the 4 of those were ones in which we found that someone failed to cooperate. We recommended that that person be fired, and the city departments agreed in 3 of the 4 of those cases. I think there is a widespread recognition across city government that people must cooperate with oversight, that the government must be accountable to the governed. The mayor's office was the exception here.
Interesting. Okay, also, you know, during my time, I've been here in the Chicagoland area I grew up downstate, but I've been here in Chicago for like 13 years. And with you being the head of the department here of the Inspector General's office, I have seen more exposure than really any other time in my tenure here in Chicago. During your time, have you found that the city, all of the departments, have worked with you as a partner or a roadblock?
It's a really good question and really gets at part of what's most challenging about our work, and that is managing our relationships with other city departments. Other city departments are part subject of and part partner in our work. At the end of the day, we all ought to be pulling in the same direction. All of us in city government ought to be working toward a government which more closely resembles the one that Chicagoans deserve. And if we are not all working toward that end, then at least some of us are in the wrong line of work. So I am very proud to say that while we have pursued our work very aggressively, we have also built and maintained very productive working relationships with many city departments, many city officials.
All right, well, that's promising. We'll end on that positive note. Deborah, thank you so much again for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.